Hello, lovies. I've thought long and hard about the idea of making a reading bullet journal for myself because if you don't know me, I'm a hardcore book nerd. Like, I inhale romances more than I drink water, which is concerning, yes, but that's beside the point. The point is, I love reading and I also love journaling, so you would think that a reading journal would be an absolutely perfect hobby for me. But when I think about it, I realize I just don't really have the time. I'm a busy gal who already bujos and reads, so why would I spend extra time doing more of both just put it on the internet when I really don't need to? So with that being said, here's my 2023 reading bullet journal setup. Honestly though, this is just for you guys and for inspiration's sake. Whether you are making a bullet journal yourself, a reading bullet journal, or you just want to chill with me and get some good inspiration, I hope these spreads give you guys some ideas. And it's also an excuse for me to play around with these new washi tapes that were sent to me by the washi tape shop, but we'll talk about those a little later. So if you notice when I opened up my bullet journal, this is actually my bullet journal from the end of 2022. I get comments sometimes asking about what I do with the extra paper in the back of my journals, since I usually get 160-page journals and I only use them for 6 months, so I really never go through all of the pages, and this is what I use them for, is just extra spreads for my YouTube channel when I'm making random things for you guys, and just some journaling pages for me that don't have to be in my current bujo. So I'm using the back of my old journal to make these cute little spreads, and I'm trying to keep like a ephemera-centered scrapbooky little vibe, I guess. Oh, pause. Wait a second. Before we talk about that, let's talk about this, because I feel like it's a very important moment in this video. I had to make a glue pad. Listen, y'all, I love a glue stick, but it absolutely despises me to have to hold a dainty little paper so I can get all the little corners. No, get a glue pad, make all the little messy mistakes you want, and then you can put it on your paper later. And as you can see, this is me using it in action, and 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. It's a great experience. But anyway, like I was saying, I feel like scrapbooky videos are just kind of the norm for reading bullet journal videos. Like, everyone loves taking their little tea-stained paper, their little sticker sets, and, you know, just scrapbooking. I don't know if it has to do with, like, you know, the cozy vibe of reading, almost like aestheticizing it and matching it with, like, the dark academia vibes. Like, I don't really know where it comes from, but I'm absolutely here for it because I love pulling out my sticker sets that I usually don't get to use very often and just decorating a nice little spread for the sake of saying I did. Like, am I ever going to come back and use this page? Literally never. Not just because it's a cover page, but because I literally do not need a reading bullet journal. I'm doing it for you guys. However, it's pretty, and I love putting pretty things out on the internet, so it's all fun time, honestly. As I'm continuing to decorate this spread, I want to talk about the washi tapes that I'm using, because the washi tape shop was kind enough to send me a bucket load of tapes for me to try and show you guys, and I'm obsessed with these designs. There's a nice mix of normal strip washis, but also sticker washis where you pull off the individual designs, and even completely transparent washis, which are starting to become a trend in the bullet journaling world, and I kind of love it. Now, they're a little unusual, all of these, in the fact that even the traditional strip washi tapes don't stick to themselves. There's a thin paper backing on the tapes you have to individually tear off, which makes the washis a little awkward to store, considering there's nothing holding the tapes in a little circle. However, that's super minor and nothing a piece of Scotch tape won't fix. There's so many vibrant colors and patterns on their shop. Of course, it's just a little small snippet of their designs, but I definitely recommend these washi tapes to any bullet journaler or crafty girly out there. They're super pretty and they fit any season, and I literally just pulled out some random ones to use for this spread and they all worked super well together. If you're looking to pick up some, I'll have the link in the description box below, along with my code MangoStudio10 for 10% off. I mean, look at there, aren't they stunning? I think they're absolutely beautiful. As I was making this spread, I did feel like things were getting a bit cluttery, things were getting a bit overwhelming, so I tried to kind of balance out where the stickers were and leave a little bit of gap in the middle. I also pulled out this transparent washi tape and added some flowers and butterflies just to add texture around the page, because I felt like right now it just was a lot of like paper on paper, which is cute in and of itself, but not really the vibe I was going for. I wanted a little more life coming out of the page, and I feel like these washi tapes really made it happen. Another thing is, okay, let's talk about structure, because I feel like I started out with a couple pictures. So I went on Pinterest a couple nights ago and found out some really cute pictures, just, you know, people reading, little book aesthetic things. And then I put them on Google Doc, printed them out on sticker paper to make it easier to put into my journal. And this is kind of the basis for all of my spreads in this video. I feel like it's super easy to start with a picture like this instead of just ephemera, because it's easy to layer behind them and keep these the focal points of the spread. So after I layered behind them with the ephemera and washi tape and stuff. Then I'll add more washi tape on top, maybe add some stickers, of course a lovely little header that I wrote on sticker paper with my Tomo Fudenosuke pens in the hard tip, which will be linked down below, along with all the stationery that I'm using in this video. And then lastly, I'll just add little sparkles to kind of tie everything together, because I feel like it's really important just to keep it all cohesive. Okay, now moving on to the next spread in this video. On the left, I'm going to have my reading challenge page, and on the right, I'm going to have a to be read. So as far as my reading challenge goes, I love a good challenge. I am always on Goodreads, which, by the way, follow me on Goodreads and Storycraft, both linked down below. They're the book apps that I track all of my ratings and reviews on, so you can go read those and see what books I'm interested in. But on Goodreads, they of course have their yearly reading challenge, and last year I gave myself the goal of 50 books in 1 year and 20,000 pages. I hit the 50 books, I almost hit the 20,000 pages, and I hit 20,000 the year prior to that. So this year I pulled out the same thing, the same goal, and I'm just hoping to keep it consistent. I don't want to push myself to read like too much to where I'm like forcing myself to get to a certain number, but I feel like approximately a book a week is pretty solid for me. And even when I have those couple weeks of, not quite in a slump, maybe not in a reading mood, I still have a little bit of leeway, and sometimes I'm like really pumping out books. Like I read like a couple books, like I'm talking like 5 books in the first like 2 weeks of January. So I was on a roll there for a second. So whether I'm in the ups and downs of my, reading vibes or whatever, I always feel like 50 books is a pretty solid goal for me as of right now, and hopefully I hit that 20,000 page mark as well. I'll just have to challenge myself to get back into those thicker fantasies that I've kind of been straying away from recently, but I'm definitely interested in getting back into that. So that's my general reading goal. I don't have anything specific like read this many hours a day or like try to hit this many 5 stars. I just want to have a very simple, relaxed time when I read, because it's a time for myself, which is like a personal thing. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. One thing I do want to say though, that I probably will write in this box too, is my DNFing. So whenever I just finish a really good book, I usually get in a little bit of slump because I feel like nothing's going to top that, you know what I mean? And so sometimes I will try to get into another book and I'll just kind of DNF like 3 or 4 and then choose one that I finally want to get into. But the thing is it truly in DNF? Because I know I'm going to get back to that book eventually. I just don't feel like I'm getting back to it right now. Like I started so many books last year that I did not finish, but I only officially DNF'd 3 books. So my goal this year is to DNF less. Like for example, I was just reading Hooked by Emily McSomething. I'm sorry, I don't know her last name off the top of my head, but I honestly despised the book, but I was so far into the book by the time I realized I didn't like it that I decided to finish it and push myself into finishing it just to, give it its full try, see if it had any redeeming qualities at the end. It did not, but I'm glad that I pushed myself to not just immediately DNF, and that's kind of something that I am working on this year too. So I don't have an official goal as far as like not DNFing things, and of course if I actually like cannot make it through a book, I'm not going to force myself to, but I just want to kind of push myself to try to finish more books and not just immediately DNF them like I did last year, even if it's not an official DNF, but I wanted to give them all their fair shot, you know what I mean? And then the spread on the right is going to be my TBR spread, or at least it would be if I'm actually using these pages, which I'm not going to. I have an extensive TBR list on Goodreads. I think the current number is 117 books. Now, granted, these go from my TBR back in like 2019 as well. So technically, I probably don't want to read all the books on my list anymore, now that I'm a couple years older and have different tastes. But there's still a growing list, that's for sure, especially with the amount of booktube and book talk content that I consume. And if I just had to list a couple big ones that I want to read this year, wait, let me pull up my Goodreads and I'll list a couple. Okay, so definitely any of the Lucy Score books, like Things We Never Got Over by a Thread. I also want to read The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Oh, I feel like I just butchered that. The Tattooist of Auschwitz. That's a very famous book, and I definitely want to read that. My friends and I want to read If You Could See the Sun by Anne Liang. And then anything by Jennifer Hartman. Honestly, anything by Kennedy Ryan. I'm super excited for books this year, and so I really hope I can get to some of these. I mean, let's be honest, it's mostly going to be romance, but maybe I'll touch into a little bit of fantasy, maybe a little bit of historical, And then at the bottom, I'm going to have my bucket list, which should have been titled Wish List. I was thinking it could be a combination of books that I want to buy, because I usually just read things on my Kindle, but I could buy a physical form. But this also could be a section titled for like specific ticks you want to check off this year as far as reading. Like, for example, I know a lot of people do like around the world reading spreads. So if you want to read a book from every continent, that this could be part of your bucket list. Or like last year when I did a reading journal setup video for you guys, I did a bingo page. So that could also be something similar, like different types of book you want to check off, like translated reads, or a certain page number that's a little scary, like maybe a 600-page book but that you want to tackle this year. Things like that. Maybe little challenges could also go in this little bucket list section at the bottom, but I kind of left it open for your imagination. You can kind of put whatever kind of book ideas you want in that little section, and it's just a cute little way to track different ideas of reads you want to get to this year. While we're at it, let's chat about some different reading bullet journal spread ideas, because you know that I have the inspiration for you guys. So other than just the cover page, you of course can do a reading challenge page or a TBR like this one. Like I said, you could do a book bingo page or around the world page for books. You could do a series tracker if you're a series girly, maybe top books of the year / month, or even spreads dedicated to one book, which I'll actually do at the end of this video, so stay tuned. I had to move location, so I apologize if the audio quality is a little different, but I took a break from posting last week, which if you're subscribed, you would know that. If you're not subscribed, you definitely should be, but I've been very busy, number one. Also, I've been in a little bit of a content slump after all of the New Year content. So if you don't know, the bullet journaling, niche, I suppose, is always very busy with the new year, posting your flip through videos, your new bullet journal setup, your January bullet journal setup, your planning videos, your February stuff. It's a lot of videos chunking out all at once, and it definitely got me in a little bit of a slump. To go on a little tangent, which I promise I will get back to the point, but I've been very much into podcasts recently. I listened to Ava Jules, Emma Chamberlain, Hannah Motti, all the people really, and I've really loved just chilling and listening to people talk about, life and general things, but for literally almost an hour on end. So many different people could just chill, talk to a microphone for an hour, and it's made me think about the idea of starting my own podcast. Not anytime soon, but I feel like it would be just such a chill and fun place, just chat with your viewers or your listeners, I suppose, since it's a podcast, and just, be open and chill for an hour, and it's just such a cozy little space. But I mention that because I've been very inspired recently by that type of just audio, that kind of content, and it's kind of changed the way I view my own content. I've tried to make this more of a podcast style voiceover. I don't know if it's really made much of a difference to you guys, but it definitely is for me in my recording and editing process. And I also just kind of want to make more, longer, lengthier, chatty videos with you guys, because why not, I want to create a community online, and I don't see why I can't do that with YouTube videos like I would a podcast. By the way, I'm moving on to my last spread, which is going to be a spread dedicated to Say Your Swear by Megan Brandy. This is my first read of the year and also my first 5-star read of the year, so I wanted to dedicate a cute little spread to it, and I hope you guys like how this design turns out. But back to the topic of content, I've been trying to also think about different ways I can upgrade my YouTube channel this year, and I want to integrate less tabletop videos like this one, which I've mentioned before. I talked about wanting to do more vlogging style at the end of last year, wanting to talk about more productivity videos at the end of last year. I don't know if that's quite the direction I'm still going in. We'll have to see as the year goes on, but I definitely want to move away from just, flat lay videos. After the 12.5 bullet journal plan with me at the beginning of the year, I'm definitely tired of the desk overlays. And not saying I'm going to stop doing them. I love videos like this, and I love doing my bullet journal setups every month, just like a consistent video I can always go back to. But I do want to sprinkle in something different every couple weeks, just because I want to make sure that I'm also fulfilling myself with this channel and not just you guys. As I always say, leave some content ideas in the description box below if you have something specific that you would like me to do. But overall, I just want this place to be a cute little community where we can be cozy and creative with each other, whether that's doing bullet journaling setups or just sitting and chatting about stuff, talking about productivity, talking about getting out of an art block, talking about being a content creator, talking about being a business owner. I don't know, I'm just very excited to see where my videos take me this year, and I hope that you guys are going to be here along with the ride. Now that we've reached this point in the video, I feel like only the dedicated subscribers are here. So settle in for a second. We're going to talk about this book, Say You Swear, because the girls know, okay, this book put me for a whirlwind. Literally, it's a 500-600 page book about this girl, named Ariana and her little boo thing. At first, okay, I will say this for you, it's not really a spoiler, but no one really knows this when they go into it. It is a technically love triangle romance, but you'll kind of see throughout the book, you know who you're rooting for. It's really not a surprise. And it's also a college romance. There's like football vibes, which are usually not my thing, but I was here for it in this one. The guy's a chef, which you can never say no to a chef boyfriend. I mean, let's be honest here. And there's also a humongous plot twist at the end. When I tell you, I was literally put through the ringer. It was like one after another of just like heartbreaking like twists and turns. It did have a happy ending, so don't worry about it, but I was just like, my heart was not doing okay. If you ask any of my friends, I was literally on New Year's Eve, everyone was, you know, partying. I was in my room reading this book instead of, you know, hanging out with my family and friends because like, I'm sorry, it takes priority. I'm kidding, of course, but it was definitely an amazing book. Absolutely recommend. 5 out of 5 stars, and it's literally a 4.5 average anyway on Goodreads, so like you should definitely pick it up if you're interested. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys loved this video and my reading bullet journal spreads. We've got some good inspiration. As always, subscribe below if you're new, and also check out the washi tapes, the washi tape shop's washi tapes, which will be linked in the description box, along with my little code for Mango Studio 10 for 10% off. I'm wishing you guys the most amazing week, sending all the love to you, and if you want to check out more reading bullet journal content from me, here's my video from last year.